There we go. Managed to record. Okay, so the recording is on. Obviously, you don't need to have your cameras on if you don't want to, and if you could keep your microphones to mute so that we don't get any disruptions throughout, that would be fantastic. And we do also have our Vice Principal along with us as well, Mr. Flynn, who is, you can see on screen. Mr. Flynn is just going to say hello.
Good morning, everyone.
Mr. Flynn is actually not going to say too much in the webinar. He's going to be in the background and he's going to be listening in, and he's going to take control of the chat feature. So if you did have any questions as I move through, you can post them to the chat. Mr. Flynn will either answer them straight away, or if he feels like he would like to share the question with the whole audience, we will cover that at the end with an answer. So thank you, Mr. Flynn, for being our chat feature today. My name is Mr. Wadsworth, and if you're not sure who I am one of our assistant principals at school, and I look over assessment and curriculum. And today we're going to look at our Learning Ladders, and more specifically our Ladders at Home portal. So let's get started. In this webinar, we will cover the following content. So we're going to look at what is the difference between Learning Ladders and Ladders at Home, because even in the webinar where I've started so far, you will have heard me say Learning Ladders, you will have heard me say Ladders at Home. So I'm going to let you know what the difference is and if there actually is a difference between the two. Next, we're going to look at what exactly Learning Ladders is, okay, and what this entails. And then we are going to look at why we use Learning Ladders at the Academy. How does Learning Ladders support yourselves as parents? And then how I'm going to actually switch over to a Ladders at Home account, and I'm going to do some navigation on there and talk through some of the features and icons that I think you as parents should be aware of. So we'll do that switch about halfway through the webinar so that you get a good feel about what the portal looks like, and all of the icons that are available to you. So first and foremost,
Wadsworth, sorry, just to interrupt.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Flynn.
If you could just go to the display settings at the top, we can just see both slides. We can see what's coming up next. There's no surprises at the moment for us. If you click on displays, yeah, swap the presenter view.
Where was that, Mr. Flynn, again?
Click on display settings on the top, the drop down above your slides. Display settings. Yeah.
This one here.
Yeah, and that. Perfect.
Ah, there we go. Thank you, Mr. Flynn. Thank you. So, secondly, we'll touch upon what is the difference between Learning Ladders and Ladders at Home. So, Learning Ladders is a system, a UK-based company, a system, and this is the known terminology for our teachers and leaders at school, okay? Now, Ladders at Home is the exact same system, okay, but it is for parents. So even though I talk about Learning Ladders and I talk about Ladders at Home, it is the exact same company, the exact same systems, but there's just a different name for them. One Learning Ladders, which we use in school, one Ladders at Home, which is for you as parents to use at home. Now, what's really clever is they talk to one another, okay? So what our teachers input into Learning Ladders will then feed into what displays for you guys, parents, on your Ladders at Home portals as well, okay? So in essence, They are the same. Now, what is Learning Ladders? So Learning Ladders is a system, and it's designed to support school improvement as it has an integrated suite of solutions which are designed to enhance teaching and learning in the primary school. The system is very pupil-centered. It's all about outcomes, and it ensures that all stakeholders, so when I use the term stakeholders, I mean teachers, leaders, parents, and students, we're all working on or towards the same learning objectives. So it's designed very much for school improvement, and this is something that we strive upon year on year as an academy as well. As you can see on the screen, I've just touched upon a couple of points there, and it also is a system that creates new tools and provides new resources so that we, all of us, can support learning at every stage of that learning journey for each and every student. Now, what does Learning Ladders do? Okay, so Learning Ladders ensures that teachers, students, and parents are better connected when it comes to discussing assessments, progress, and it supports in more meaningful conversations. So the Ladders at Home webpage, it shares regular updates, and it provides you as parents with insights into exactly what your child is learning at school throughout the academic year. Okay, not only this, it actually provides you as parents information about how you can support at home with its unique online articles, and I will be showing you a couple of examples of these later in the webinar so that you get a good idea of, one, where to locate these, and two, how to use these as well at home. One thing that Learning Ladders does as well for us as teachers, it helps give accurate and valid and robust data, which supports us in identifying gaps in knowledge. That both gaps as in those gaps that we need to plug, but also it really highlights the strengths of all students as well. And as this system is live, that's really pertinent and really helps making the curriculum adaptations and plan adaptations more purposeful in order to personalize learning for students, and providing the right resources in order to ensure that all students are challenged throughout every lesson that they partake in. In addition to this, all articles and the entire Ladders at Home webpage is actually available in over 100 different languages. Okay, this is something that is huge, especially with a diverse international community that we have at our school, and of course with our ELL families, students who are just starting to learn the English language. This is a fantastic feature for you as parents, as you can convert the settings to translate the language into the language of your choice. Okay. And the data that is inputted into Learning Ladders, it will continue to ensure that, I just touched upon earlier, that teachers personalised learning. It also means that families, parents can focus on key areas of learning with students at home, supporting their next steps or target areas, and again in that preferred language of choice. Okay, and there's lots of research out there on parental engagement in school, and it is really important, and it is one of the key factors in securing high student achievement. So myself and Mr. Flynn talk about the triangle approach to everything, and in order to support progress. So that includes teachers, it includes the parents, and it includes the students as well. And all of that engagement is really key in ensuring that students perform or attain highly at the end of academic year. So why do we use Learning Ladders at the Academy? I will have touched upon a couple of these points already. The first one is it allows us to create a bespoke national curriculum. So we obviously follow the national curriculum for England in the United Kingdom, but we are able to edit or change, adapt some of those objectives to fit our school setting. So it allows us to have that bespoke national curriculum in all subject areas. As I've mentioned a couple of times already, it involves all stakeholders. So it involves teachers, leaders, parents, and students as well. And it allows us to hone in and focus on the skills that are really important. It allows both teachers, myself, and leaders to continually track and monitor the progress and attainment of all students, so that if there are any concerns, we can intervene and support students and parents where progress is not being maintained or attainment is not being maintained. But also on the flip side, it provides accuracy and validity so that we can share those strengths and successes in terms of progress and attainment as well. One of the features on the portal for our teachers is a gap analysis feature, which is fantastic. It breaks down all curriculum content and it shows exactly the areas of focus, all the areas that students need to work on, and then all of the areas of strength for each student. Now, this is personalized to each and every student. So that really helps our classroom teachers, especially when they are planning upcoming units of work or upcoming lessons, because they know which resources to set in order to ensure that progress is maintained for personalised learning. It helps us to have actionable conversations, so it enables you as parents to have more of an oversight of what's going on in school on a regular basis. And those conversations can obviously take place at our parents' evenings, but I do always say that you don't have to wait to a parents' evening to have a conversation. If you would like to speak to your class teacher, if you send them an email, they are more than happy to speak to you at any time during the year to speak about any questions that you may have based on the Ladders at Home portal, and of course your child's strengths and areas to work on. I've mentioned this a couple of times. It helps us set personalised targets through the gap analysis feature. It gives you parental guidance, and I will touch upon that in a couple of minutes when I switch to the Ladders at Home webpage, and we'll go through a bit of navigation on there. Another thing that it does really well is in terms of Arabic, Islamic and MSCS, so moral, social and cultural studies, it aligns those subjects with the MOE curriculum, which is fantastic. And it also has that alignment with other schools who use Learning Ladders as well. So there are many schools in the UK who use the system, and there are a growing number of schools now in the UAE who use the Learning Ladders system as well. So it's fantastic that the Arabic, Islamic and MSCS objectives and statements are all aligned across the schools. And lastly, it's quite user friendly. So you may not think that just yet, as you may be unsure of how to navigate the system. However, hopefully in the next few, by the end of this webinar, sorry, you'll realise that it is quite user friendly. It's quite easy to navigate, and it's quite easy to locate areas on the system that you need to focus. Before I switch to the actual portal, one thing I did just want to share with you is how do you access Ladders at Home. So this webinar has been recorded. It will be shared with you as well. So don't worry if you can't snip the QR code now. But that's the QR code that takes you to the page here on the left, where you'll be required to put your username or email address and your password. If you have yet to activate your Ladders at Home account, please don't worry, okay? Because if you email Jen Balboa, who's our primary data manager in the school, she will be more than happy to support you with this process. All we ask though is that once Jen activates the link for you to register, the link expires within about 4 or 5 hours. So it's really important that once you get that activation email, you register, and then that should have you registered then for the foreseeable future. You'll never have to re-register again, okay? But yeah, you'll have access to Ladders at Home anytime, anywhere, okay? You can visit the website, you can type Ladders at Home into a URL if you wish. That will bring up the page on the left as well, or you can use a QR code as mentioned. You'll obviously have your unique login details, which you can gain from Jen. The website can be accessed. It can be accessed through tablets. It can be accessed through laptops on the most up-to-date versions of these and most common browsers. They do recommend that Google Chrome is the best, but you can use Android devices as well. And Safari on iPads as well does work for this. And yeah, lastly, I just want to mention, yeah, once you receive the activation email, if you do register within, the first couple of hours, that'll be really important, just because the link expires after that. Okay, so the next slide is how do I navigate the portal, and what icons do you as parents need to be aware of? So for this, I'm actually going to switch to a Ladders at Home portal. I'm just going to check, Mr. Flynn, can you see the demo student there?
Yes, it's all there, sir.
Perfect, thank you very much. So once you log into your account, firstly, I'd just like to mention, if you have multiple students in the academy, on the top left here, you'll be able to toggle between those students, okay? So it won't display all of the information for all of your children. It will just display information for the child that you have who selected. So if you have a child in year 4 and year 6, you can just toggle between the children there. This is what you see on the first page. It actually tells you how many learning goals have been started. So these are the curriculum objectives that have been assessed against by the teachers. And as you scroll down, you will see all of the objectives that have been started that teachers have assessed against, okay? And that has everything all together. Now, if you wanted to get a snapshot and focus more on a subject specific, if you click on goals, here you have an icon where you can toggle between the subjects. So as you can see, for the demo student that I've created, I've put objectives in, I've assessed objectives for reading, writing, spoken language, maths, science, PE, music, moral, social and cultural studies. So if I select maths, all of the national curriculum objectives will now be showing in maths, okay? If you toggle and change to reading, all of the assessments will be there for reading, okay? As you can see, there's a couple of mini icons in the top right-hand corner of each objective. So for the national curriculum, one objective is here. I can distinguish between statements of fact and opinion, okay? And to the right of that, there is a separate objective that has been assessed against by the teachers. So when the teachers go onto Learning Ladders and they input their assessments, these are what are then being fed through to your Ladders at Home portal. In the top right-hand corner, if you can see, I'm just hovering over there, a tick, that means that that objective has been completed. That means that your child is secure and has a good understanding in that area, okay? However, if you see a timer, that illustrates that this objective is still in progress. That is nothing to worry about, okay? But that just means that this objective, it may be something that the teachers have only just started to introduce. It may be something that the students are just finding a little bit challenging at the minute, and with time, they will hopefully change that to a tick later in the term. But that means that they are still working towards that curriculum objective, okay? Whereas a tick illustrates that that has been completed. Now, just because a tick appears and that states that that curriculum objective has been completed, doesn't mean that students won't revisit that, okay? So our curriculum and looking at the science of learning, it's important that we offer students opportunities for retrieval and to retrieve information that they've learned, so that that information is stored and they can then show that knowledge and understanding in 2 weeks' time, a month's time, 3 months' time. So that's really important, and we plan those retrieval opportunities into all lessons. So even though they are ticks, these are elements that elements of the curriculum that students will still revisit, as well as the in progress objectives as well. Now, for those parents who are existing parents, you will also know for the past couple of years, our end of year reports have been shared on Ladders at Home. So pupil reports, and this is only for end of year. So our midterm reports for term 1 and term 2, they will be shared on GEMS Connect. However, the end of year reports from previous years, if you're an existing parent, you will be able to find those in the pupil report section. New parents to the Academy, you will have nothing evident in there currently. Okay. Now, if I switch back to maths, I would like to show you another feature, and it's the articles feature. I mentioned earlier that the Learning Ladders team, who are experienced teachers, they have created articles to support parents in understanding the objective and really focusing in on how you can support at home as well, alongside the teachers in school. So if I take the objective, I can read, write, order and compare numbers up to 10 million and determine the value of each digit. If you click on articles, it brings up a selection of articles that are linked to that objective. So I can see here, read and write and compare numbers up to 10 million with a degree of accuracy. That one there, I know very much links to the objective that I've just selected. So I'm going to click that article. And all the way down, there are tabs on the left-hand side for sections. It tells you what this objective means, okay? It tells you as parents why it's important, why it's taught in schools. It gives you a little bit of information about how it's taught as well. So as we know, there's some objectives that will be taught differently, but it gives you an oversight of how these may be taught and how it may be built upon year after year. So how is this objective now for a year 6 student? How was it taught in year 5? How might it have been taught in year 3 and year 2 and so on? It gives some ideas on home learning tasks that that students could complete. It gives you a little feature about how you as parents can help students in that area. It gives some teacher tips as well. It gives some suggestions of activities and games that can be taken, students can take part in at home. Some supporting activities as well, and also next steps. What can we do moving forward in the future? And last but not least, and these aren't available on all articles, but it actually suggests some resources. So whether that'll be a book, whether that'll be a web page, or a link to a game, a link to some information, a link to a quiz. There are some suggested resources for lots of the articles on there as well. So it's a really fantastic feature that talks through the objective, what it is, why we use it, why it's taught, so I suppose why it's important, and then some top tips on how we can support from home and in school as well. Now, if I just go back, there are articles for many subjects, okay, but not all. So the articles are available for reading, they're available for writing, they're available for maths, and they are now available for science, which is a brand new feature, which is fantastic. They're not, unfortunately, available for any other subject area, This is something that the Learning Ladders team are still continuing to work on. So reading, writing, maths, and now science as well. So if I go onto the science objective, if I click on the light in year 6, again, it's very similar to the maths one, but this article will focus in on light for year 6 because the demo student is sat in year 6 currently. Okay. If I go back, I mentioned earlier as well, one of the fantastic features of Learning Ladders is the availability to change the language into a language of your choice. And at the top right, you will see it says translate. Okay. This brings up another tab. I won't go through all of the icons, but some of the icons here you can actually play. So you can someone will read the objective to you if you wish. If you went to an article,
link articles,
as I say, they're talking now. If you wanted someone to read that to you, you can press the play button if you wish to use that. You can zoom in, zoom out as well, which is really straightforward. You can use the ruler if you wanted to focus on just a line at a time or a section at a time. It blacks out the other areas of the screen. Okay. It also has a dictionary embedded in. So if you click the enable disable dictionary, you can type in a word and it will tell you what that word means. One of the biggest features, I would say, is the language feature. So this one here with the little A there, if you click on this, you can see as I scroll down, I can convert from the default setting, which is English, to over 100 languages, as you can see on the screen here. Now, if it has a little speaker next to it, that means that that language as well will be spoken to you. If it doesn't have a speaker next to it, that means that obviously you will just have to read that. But I can translate that into any language. So if I click on Afrikaans, all of the web page now will convert to Afrikaans. If I change it to Arabic, all of the web page will now convert to Arabic, and that is so on and so forth for all of our languages that you can see on here. Spanish from the US, okay, Russian as well. It will convert the language so that you can read it in your home preferred language, okay? I'm just going to change it back to the default setting, which is English. So that's a really fantastic feature that you can have at your disposal to change the language there as well. One thing I did forget to mention, there is a timer and there is a tick, and I talked through both of those icons. But another icon that does appear is a bell, a little bell. This will appear next to these icons, and that is if it's a brand new objective that has been assessed against. So if our teachers assess curriculum objectives in maths over the next couple of weeks, and then they will then feed into the Ladders at Home portals, you'll see a little bell next to one of the timers or the ticks, and that just means that that objective has just recently been covered in class, and that has just been assessed against by classroom teachers. So in essence, having the Ladders at Home webpage, it allows teachers to have conversations live with students in the classroom, and it also allows teachers to have live conversations with parents at home, because the progress updates are shared through the systems. And that's really nice that it pushes those inputs from teachers to you as parents, so that you can see the learning objectives that have taken place in a school during each half term as well. Okay, so I'm just going to stop sharing my screen, okay, and come back to the beginning, turn my video back on. So that in essence was an overview of an oversight of Ladders at Home and Learning Ladders, the system that we use at school and how it supports you as parents at home. Just before I introduce Mr. Flynn back onto the webinar, just in a summary, it really provides that constant dialogue, so between teachers, students and parents. And I did mention earlier that you as parents, there's no expectation that you need to wait until parents' evening or our pupil celebration mornings. Please do reach out to teachers, send them an email, catch them at the end of the day if you do wish to speak about learning objectives that are on there. Unique articles which are there, which can help and support from home. Obviously, a really great feature is those that translate feature where you can change the language to your preferred language, and it allows those purposeful and meaningful conversations as well. So we obviously as a school are really excited to be continuing to use Learning Ladders this academic year. As I say, it's growing in the UAE. There's many schools now using it as well. So it's really nice that we can have those conversations with other schools and how they're using it as well. And it really helps to ensure that all stakeholders are regularly kept up to date with the learning journey and progress that is taking place throughout the academic year. So Mr. Flynn, welcome back.
Hi, yes, we've had a couple of questions and a bit of dialogue as we go through, and we'll be able to answer most of them. But just could you just very quickly just go over exactly how parents get their email, their username and password if they don't have it yet?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you, I'm just going to share my screen again, Mr. Flynn. Can you see this page there with the QR code?
Yes. Yes. Right.
So if you are yet to sign up, you are, if that QR code will take you to the Ladders at Home, but the thing you need to do is email Jen Balboa, okay, and the email's on the screen, j.balboa1_work@gemsedu.com. If you email Jen and just say, hi Jen, I would like to set up my Ladders at Home account, Jen will then reply and she will say that she has activated the sign up. Once that's been activated, you have around about 4 to 5 hours then to register. All you need to do is click the link, put your username in, your password, and then that's it. Okay, so if you email Jen, then Jen will activate the email directly to your email address that's on the system. Does that make sense, Mr. Flynn?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. And one other question we had from one of our parents was, what was the meaning of the number? And when I believe maybe at the start of when the learning goal was started, is there like a number linked to it?
A number.
I wasn't quite sure myself, so I just I'm not sure if that's just the number of how many objectives there are potentially.
This here, yeah. So that there, 89, that number is how many objectives across the entire curriculum, so all subjects that have currently been assessed against. So that number will start with 0 at the start of the year, and by the end of the year, it'll be the hundreds, maybe even more, maybe thousands, but that'll be all of the objectives that are covered and assessed against as the year goes on. So that number will increase, okay?
Perfect. We just had a question there, said, could you please show us again how we can chat with the teacher through the system?
Oh, yeah, unfortunately, you're unable to chat to the teacher directly through the system, okay? So there's no, currently there is no feature within Ladders at Home where that is possible. I'm not sure whether the Learning Ladders support team, whether that's something that they're looking to develop, I'm unsure. But there's no opportunity for you to actually chat live to the teachers. However, if there is something that you do need to speak about, by all means, a quick email and our teachers are more than happy to speak to you about that. Okay, Mr. Flynn?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we've got a couple of other quick technical ones, which I've given Jen's email address to parents for that. But apart from that, I think that's kind of covered everything from the questions in the chat at the moment. I'll just wait a few minutes to see if there's anything comes through, or if anyone wants to unmute and ask a question directly to Mr. Waterworth, they can. But that's kind of covers all the questions we have at the moment in the chat.
Perfect. I mean, just one last thing I do want to touch upon, I do want to make this clear, is that Learning Ladders, Ladders at Home, the same system is very much used in years 1 to 6, okay? So for our FS families, if you only have a child in FS, there is no requirement to activate your accounts, because you won't find any further information on there than what you wouldn't find on your midterm report or through Seesaw, okay? So this is predominantly for students in years 1 to 6. Obviously, if you're a parent and you have a child in FS and in the primary school, you will actually see both students on your portals, but you will only see updates against, you'll only see progress updates against curriculum objectives for students who are in the primary school, not in FS. Just to clear that up as well.
One more question here, Mr. Waterworth. Would it be possible to share a soft copy of everything so we can send the PowerPoint out as well?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, so on in a Friday email, weekly email this week, what I'll do is I'll convert the recording and I'll put it onto YouTube so that we can share the link, and that will be the recording. And I'll also convert the PowerPoint to a PDF, and I will attach that to the weekly email as well this week.
That's great. And as I say, there's a couple of questions there. If anyone does have any issues, come in person, Mr. Waterworth or I or Ms. Balboa will be more than happy to help you go through, spend 5-10 minutes having a look through it. So please just come in and see us face to face. I know obviously we're on Zoom at the moment, but if you want to, please pop in the morning, afternoon, and just let us know. Mr. Waterworth, one last question here. How often is Learning Ladders being updated by teachers?
Yeah, okay. So currently, this is something that we've looked at since we started using the system. So Learning Ladders, teachers engage in Learning Ladders weekly, okay? So ensure that those assessment updates are on there. However, for parents, I would say that the updates come more twice per half term. So if you're twice per half term, like you'll get 12 updates per year. Okay, that's currently what we're sitting at the minute. And what happens is, once the update actually comes through, if your account is registered, you will receive an email and it will say something along the lines of, your child's Ladders at Home portal has been updated. Please log in to check the updates against national curriculum objectives.
Okay, it doesn't seem to be any more questions in the chat here, sir. So I think that's it from the chat room side.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I just would like to say thank you to Mr. Flynn for taking control of the chat feature today for us. And lastly, thank you as parents for taking the time out of your day this morning to attend the webinar. I hope you found it really useful, really clear. But as Mr. Flynn said, if you have any technical issues in signing up, logging in, Jen Balboa is the person to speak to. If you would like some more information, myself and Mr. Flynn are more than happy to spend 5 minutes. We'll sit down with you. We'll even log on with you on your iPad or iPhone, and we'll talk through the system alongside you as well. We are more than happy to do that. But yeah, thank you so much again for attending. And if you do have any questions that come to spring to mind, I know that in the moment, sometimes it's hard to ask a question. You might think of a question tonight, tomorrow. Please just send myself and Mr. Flynn an email. Myself or Mr. Flynn, we're more than happy to support as well. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to end the meeting now, and I hope you all have a lovely Wednesday and a great rest of the week, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye for now, guys. Thank you.